Feel free. In those last 3 minutes, what was your experience watching that? Three words that describe what you observed. Maybe you're speechless. I don't know. Okay. And then on the right side, at the top, if you'll write 1 hour. Now imagine that instead of us doing that for 3 minutes, I had you do that for the full hour. No breaks. Continued pace for the full hour. What would be 3 words you would use to describe, so you're just imagining, if you had to do that activity for the full hour? What are 3 words that might describe that experience? So thank you for your participation. What a great group. Sarah asked me to come and speak today about work-life balance. And so maybe that's something you feel you've got going on really, really well. And in that case, congratulations. It has taken me a while. And so what I'd like to do today is share a little bit about my experience. And then there's a short questionnaire that I'll have you all take to kind of examine where you think your work-life balance is. A couple poems we'll read that I've written that have kind of described where I was then and where I am now. Maybe you can relate to those. And at the end, I'll just allow for you to have some time to really think about how you feel and think and respond on a regular basis within work and just within your life in general. And just to sit with that and to see if you're satisfied with that, or if you kind of get that feeling in your stomach that maybe something's not quite right, and maybe there's a change that would come at some point. So we're just today, I don't have a lot of information for you. It's just a time that you get to think about yourself, which you may or may not get to do that very often. I will continue to ask for feedback, especially at the end, but don't feel like you have to offer anything up today. If you just want to keep that for you and have conversations with your boss or your friends or your spouse at a later time, that's fine. So it's welcome, but it's not necessary. So I'm going to read a little bit of this. Throughout my life, people have always told me, wow, you have a lot of things going on. I heard it my sophomore year before I caught pneumonia, overexerting myself with school activities and depleting my immune system. I heard it when I was teaching 6 Zumba classes per week and crashing from too many caffeine supplements and not enough rest. I heard it when I was working play practice. In fact, my therapist has confirmed that I am better at doing rather than being. For the most part, I'm okay with this part of myself. My energy, ideas, and work ethic have me floating on cloud 9 most days. Even when I do have time to relax, my mind and my body fight it. It seems like I am calibrated to a frequency where calming down is what actually requires the most work. I don't know if you all have really thought about your values, those foundational pieces that drive why you do things and what you choose to do. I honestly never thought of the values that drove my behaviors until I was about 30. So up until my 30s, hindsight, my 2 main values that if I looked back on every behavior, every choice I made, could go back to these 2 values. Do my best, be the best. Fix it, help. I recently went back to Kansas City and looked back through some old papers and a box, and it was filled with report cards with the grade A, plaques, trophies, certificates, degrees, and a resume that's filled to the brim with experiences. At that point, about 29 or 30, I honestly could say I had never dropped the ball. everything that I attempted or tried to do worked out. Until I took a job at a residential treatment center, and I was hired. The lady that hired me, was really happy to hire me and thought I had a lot to offer. And just how that progressed, slowly but surely, the people that had come into the project were leaving or being asked to leave, and I was kind of the last person left standing. And I don't know if y'all ever feel like this or ever say, if I don't do it, who will? Or I can't let these people down. Or if I can just make it until they hire someone new, I have a vacation, wherever we think that light at the end of the tunnel is going to be, that I guess keeps us going that next step, even when, for myself, during that time, I wasn't sleeping. I was a drug and alcohol therapist who had to drink to cope with the amount of work I had to do. So that's kind of interesting. I had no social life. Pressure, consistent pressure in my chest, I couldn't take a deep breath. My husband would say, as I laid next to him, he's like, "You're not breathing." I was annoyed with having to take a deep breath. That was wasting too much time. Constant planning, no supervision or support from colleagues at the time. All my interactions were emails, no face-to-face. I would have many breakdowns. And so anyway, all this was happening. And in my mind, I'm just saying, never once did I think, I don't think this is a healthy situation. I should probably get out of it. It never crossed my mind. Do my best, be the best, fix it, help. So I was stuck. There's nothing anybody could have told me that would have helped me believe I had another option. And so why hire other people if you've got one that'll do the work of 4? That's cost effective. Until then, I had always thought that everybody had my best interest. And so I took my mental health and emotional health and self-care and I put it into someone else's hands, and I was hoping that they would make good decisions for me. Well, they have a bottom line, a business to run. Their concern is not my mental and emotional health. We finally did hire someone who I helped to train, my supervisor. I showed a sign of weakness. I broke down in a group. My supervisor said, "Well, what do you need?" I said, "Well, I need time off. I need supervision. I need some support." Next day I come in, the executive director calls me to her office, and she lets me know that I will be being let go. So I was on the board that hired her. Together be better. A sharp razor's edge that cuts from within, the inhabitant continues to suffer. Overworked and underpaid, in need of some relief, yet we take on more to even the score of our not good enough belief. We continue on as we've always done, full tilt in all directions, killing ourselves, going nowhere fast, disconnected from our intentions. We vent our troubles again and again, wipe the tears and pull it together. Fretting inside with each passing day, we'll be trapped in this condition forever. Despite all our efforts, we take a turn for the worst, unable to fill the demands. Our extreme ways of coping leave us thirsty for more as we present with empty hands. So at this time, I want to give you an opportunity to look at some of these questions that are starting to ask a little bit about your work-life balance. And you're just answering true or false. And just for your most, your normal, typical day, would you say that's more true or more false? So just take a minute or two to complete that if you haven't already. And if you really don't know, just put a question mark by it. Does anyone need more time? Okay, so now I'm going to have you look at the words that you wrote for the group juggle. So you've got some words that you wrote down for when we did it for about that 3-minute time period. And you've got some words that, okay, I wonder how I would feel or think if I had to do that for an hour. So maybe circle or star any of those words on either side that you feel resonates with you on how you feel most days. Right now, only you kind of know your score. You kind of know where you're at, and you've gotten some information just based on that experience. You were kind of your most truest self, and you felt what that felt like. And you've got some words that are maybe sticking out to you on how you feel most days. And so the last thing I'll just have you do, if you're comfortable with that, is just close your eyes or pick something to focus on, and I'm just going to have you think a little bit about yourself. So just sit with the words and sit with what you identified in the quiz. Think about how you move about your day, your process of waking up in the morning, getting here, interacting with your colleagues, with your students. What feelings do you feel on a typical day? Do you ever feel hurried or irritable? Do you ever feel detached or numb? Maybe you wouldn't use those words. Maybe you would use something different. The thoughts, do you ever say on a regular basis, there's not enough time, or if not me, then who? Or find yourself irritated about the lack of work other people are doing compared to the responsibilities that you have. When you look at your behaviors, maybe after work, whether you're watching a show or enjoying a meal or with friends, do you notice yourself trying to get away from the day? Trying to escape or numb or check out? And, whatever's surfacing, no need to judge it or to run from it. You're just acknowledging what is. Now consider if a spouse or a friend, or even your child came to you and was saying that they experience life similar to what you're imagining that you experience right now. They're saying, man, I feel this way, and I think this way, and these are my behaviors. Very similar to yours. Would you feel reassured for them? Would you feel content for them? Would you feel a little worried? Sitting with yourself now like you would a friend. What if you believed you have, or at least can access, all the resources you need to make your life just like you want it to be, or at least maybe a little different than it is now? Feeling reassured that with conversations with loved ones or your boss, maybe journaling, maybe seeing your therapist, that one day at a time, with very simple, small changes, you could start to feel better, more balanced, more calm, like you had plenty of time for the things that matter the most. What would that person look like, feel like, sound like? So just to finish, just continuing to follow my direction as you sit, focusing on our toes and squeezing our toes like there's sand between them, feeling that tension, and then just releasing it, letting it go. Moving up the legs, feeling that tension in your calf muscles, squeezing your calves, feeling that pressure, and then just deciding to let it go. Moving up your body to your thighs, maybe your hands rest on your lap, squeezing those thighs, feeling the firmness of the muscle. Good, and just shaking it out. Moving up the body to your stomach, squeezing that tummy, maybe poking at it a little bit, feeling that tension. Good, and then just letting it go. No need for it right now. Moving up the body, maybe you take your hands and you spread all your fingers out till you feel the stretch in between each finger. And then take your hands and ball them into a fist and squeeze. Squeeze your fist, feel the tension up your arms and into your chest. Hold on with all you've got. And then just let it go. Shake it out. Good. Moving up the body to the face with the eyeballs closed, squinching that, or squeezing those eyes tight shut, clenching that jaw, squeezing. Good, and then just letting it go. Maybe opening that mouth, maybe rubbing your jaw a little See if you noticed any tension that maybe you didn't notice was there. If you don't mind messing up the hair a little bit, you may rub your temples, rub the top of your head, rub behind your neck. No need to wait for a $40 massage, just do your own. Good. Good. And then just letting go. And finally taking our shoulders and raising them up to our ears. Going into that turtle shell. Good, and then just dropping those shoulders. And do it one more time if you'd like. Squeezing those shoulders, breathing, and releasing. Good. And slowly as you're ready, wiggling the fingers and toes and opening the eyeballs. And just coming back to the room. Okay. So maybe let's start off. If you had to describe what's happening with you in the last 30 minutes in one word, what would you say? Does anyone want to try? And you can just shout it out.
Refocus.
Refocus, thank you.
Relax.
Thoughtful. Okay, let me ask this. Maybe just a little show of hands. Is this resonating with anyone? Okay. 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 Good. So the final thing I have for us today is the poem that's in your packet. And I rewrote the Beating the Clock. I've been wanting to rewrite it for a long time, but I haven't been ready to rewrite it. And so, yeah, yesterday was the day. And so, if I kind of total it up, it's been 1,400 days since the last poem. And it's just been an acknowledgement of I cannot no longer live my life solely with the two values of be the best and please everyone. I can't do it. Because I tried, and I did, and even when I did my best, the balls fell. And one of those was me. And, you know, I get one shot at life. And like my great-grandmother said, you know, if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will. And so I took that to heart and re-examined my values, which we can do anytime we want. And I put my wellness at the top. Now, I still care what you think. I still, you know, hope to be helpful to people. I still like doing a really good job. Those are still values to me. They'll never go away. My grandparents and parents will make sure of that. But they don't run my life. I'm never going to sacrifice myself for that. It's not going to happen. And I've had to make some pretty bold boundaries. And I'll be honest with you all, even the fact that I'm probably not going to have children. Because I don't know if I can maintain my wellness. And that might be, you may hear that and that might not sit with you well, and that's okay. But, I mean, that's how far I'm willing to go to make sure for myself that I'm okay. And so whatever bold decision you would need to make for yourself, for your wellness to be a priority, I definitely support that. And, you know, we make adjustments and there's chaos and everybody around us freaks out. You know, if Melanie decided that she was done with group juggle and she sat down, there'd be some chaos. Who was throwing it to Melanie? Okay, Cam would be like, oh my gosh, who to throw it to? Molly's not here, and okay, now. But if you stuck in it and you had your group, you would figure it out. You would go to new people, and the rotation would continue. The homeostasis would figure it out whether Melanie chose to be there or not. And we want to be important to people. We want to be irreplaceable. We think. But that comes at a price. And so I guess I'm saying, whatever choice you have to make for yourself, even if the balls are going to drop and people are going to be annoyed and it's going to take them having to think about their own stuff, they'll figure it out. They'll move on, or they won't, and that's their choice. That's not for you. You just have to take care of you and do the best for you. And it'll be okay. That treatment center's still going. There's still people that are getting help there every day. They did not need me. And now I'm at a place that respects my new values, and I'm happy. So this is take a moment to pause. Checking the clock, take a moment to pause. Sanity lies in the balance. Doing enough, just being us, willing to take on a challenge. Expectations in line with supports to sustain. Get it together, together. A reassuring hug warms from within. Each day we're getting better. Finding purpose in our work with a good enough belief. Connect. Read that, somebody. I think
And hours we can manage.
Keep going.
With a good enough belief, connecting to our source, no need to force, we experience more relief.
Thank you. We continue on as we've always done, open to new perceptions, loving ourselves, going nowhere fast, connected to our intentions. We vent our troubles again and again, take action and set the tone, calm inside with each passing day because we know we're not alone. And with all of our efforts, we take a turn towards the light, sifting through all the demands. Our healing ways of coping leave us prepared once again as we present with open hands. So that's all I've got for today. Does anybody have anything you feel like you would like to say in this time?
I liked your poem, both when you were reading the first version, I was reading your amended version so I could see how it contrasted. It's very expressive. You did a good job.
Thanks, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Any other comments? Just things that are coming up, things that you're thinking, or aspects of the presentation you're connecting to. You connected with the poem. Anybody else connecting with anything?
It's so important, especially in the school setting, because you are so in the moment and you have students and you have deadlines and all those things. And I know from changing jobs after 25 years and still being in the school world that it's just amazing to kind of have that retrospective looking back and thinking, I just can't do it, no one else will. It's very refreshing to look at it from different eyes and how important.
Thanks, Mel. That's good. Okay, I think that's all I've got. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.